Good morning. You came back. You're interested in creating a basic wire tree for the first time. You've never done a wire tree before, and you came back for part two. Welcome. Hi, my name is Carol, artist of Only Trees, and if you're popping in and hearing me talk about doing part two, if you've missed part one and you are interested in creating a basic wire tree, go back and look for part one. Part one will go through the steps. Part two, we're going to be, we finish the root system, we're going to be working on the trunk and the branches. So here we are. Let's get this started. Yeah. Let's get this started. My mind is thinking, where do we start? So if you've taken notice, you did see part one. We're now into part two. I have not done anything to this tree until now. Again, I'm going to work with you. I'll probably be doing some pausing, so on, so forth for each step. So let's get it started. I have my rubber band at the top. I'm going to take that rubber band off. And if you remember correctly, we're using 40 strands of wire. I used a block of wood to wrap around this wire, cut it in the middle, straighten it out. We created the roots. Now we're into the trunk system. My thoughts are, should I take the rubber band off? No. Think about it. Yes, you did twist all of this wire, but if you pull this rubber band off, you're going to have maybe 8 pieces of wire go this way, 8 pieces of wire go that way, because nothing has been connected above that rubber band. So just keep that rubber band on for a little while, and we're going to take either our left hand or our right hand, kind of squish down those roots, because we're kind of done with them for now, and hold on to where that rubber band is. This is where the design of your tree is going to come in. So we have 40 strands. Remember, we're doing a basic tree. There is absolutely no wrong way to create a wire tree. Again, this is just how I do it. There are many other artists right here on YouTube somewhere showing you many different techniques. Take part of this technique and maybe someone else's technique and create your own. But this is how I'm going to get started. So I'm not counting, I'm just pulling, splitting, and then twisting. Because I'm making a small tree, I have to think about how many twists I want to get. So first, I want to make sure they're nice and tight. Those twists need to be nice and tight. I'm going to get into that V again with my fingers and my thumb. Get in there. I'm going to do a twist, holding on to where the rubber band is. The roots are in my hand, and I'm just going to twist. Get that in there. Do another twist. Get that in there. And one more time, 3 half turns, just to lock all of that trunk into place. Now, because I have what I want there, I know my rubber band is still there. It's still holding all the wire. This basically has all of the wire connected now from the root system and the starting of the trunk. Again, I'm just going to split my wire one side, not counting. I'm going to get into that V, and I'm going to twist. I like to do 3 half turns. It's a count. It's one that's pretty easy to remember, and knowing that I locked it in place. So I have one trunk on this side. I'm gonna start, do the same thing on the other side. Okay, there goes your 3 half turns. Now, depending how tight I twist and how much wire I have in each trunk that I'm creating is going to determine the height. If you can see, holding this level, this side of my tree that I've started, I only did 3 half turns. This side was the same, but not as much wire, 3 half turns, and you can see that there's a little bit different in the height. All right, I'm gonna break this one up again. I did not count my wires, 3 half turns. Take another trunk. All right, I'm not counting, I'm just getting into that V, twisting my wire nice and tight, and 3 half turns. All right. And now for the thicker trunk that I decided to create. I'm gonna split that in half also. 3 half turns. And now for the one that I did not twist yet, right down into the center, not counting my wires. I don't know what I have as far as branches. I could have 5 in one set, 3 in another, 7 in one set, 2 in another. Doesn't matter, however you want to break it up. So there is the beginning of that. All right, I'm gonna go the next step a little bit longer. We're getting into the branches now, and I've got to think of how I want to design my tree. So I'm thinking, okay, in this full set, if I pull these wires down, and you're seeing, I have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and this is all just twisted together. So now is to make a decision, do I want to do 4 and 4? Or do I want to do 5 and 3? I'm going to do 5 and 3 because as we build upward, I will be able to show you what happens when you come up with an odd number of wires. You know, twisting 2 wires and 2 wires together is easy. You get a little bit different effect when you have only 3 wires. So let's do, I'm going to do 5 and 3. I'm going to push those others to the side. No, I'm sorry, I'm going to do 3. It's 3 wires and 2 wires, so total of 5. I'm getting into that V, twisting nice and tight. I did my 3 half turns, but I want to go a little bit longer, so I'm going to go 3 more, so it's a total of 6 half turns. 1, 2, 3. Okay, and then those extras that was in that group, I only have 3 wires here. I'm getting down into that V and twisting 2, 3. I think I will go another 3 half turns, so we're getting into the branches, so they're a little bit longer. Okay, we'll put those aside and start with another set. This set I happen to have, oh, okay, I happen to have 4 and 4. I have 4 here and I've got 4 here. I'm just gonna split these up 2 and 2, get into that V, That's my 3 half turns, but we're getting into the branches, so I'm going to do 6. And you know what? Just for the heck of it, I'm going to do 3 more. So it's going to give my branch a little bit longer. And this set here that I have 4, I'm going to split into 2 and 2, down into that V, nice and tight. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go 3 more. 1, 2, 3. So this branch is a little bit shorter than the one that I turned or did 9 half turns in there. That's good. Let's move to the next set. My voice is getting a little bit froggy. All of this talking. All right, so I've got 4, and this one I have 6. All right, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna split my 4 in 2, get down into that V. 1, 2, 3. And then let that one go and go into the group that I have 6 wires and split them into 3 and 3. That's 3 half turns, but I'm going to go a little bit longer. 1, 2, 3. So I've got 6 half turns in that one, kind of like that one. Just let that go. And then I've got this kind of thick trunk that is coming out, so I know I've got a little bit more wire here to play with. This is the last one. All right, I've got 6, 9, 12. I've got 13 wires here. So I'm going to split the 6 into 3 and 3. And I'm going to take this one up 6 half turns right away. That was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right. And this one that has 7, I'm going to split that into 5. Now, what do I have here? Now, wait a minute. I'm confusing myself. Okay, I've got 4 and 4, so I've got 8. I'm going to split 4 and 4, or my 8 into 4 and 4. Come on, guys, stick with me. Get confusing. So that was 3 half turns, but I'm going to take this branch a little bit longer. I'm going to go, this is 6. I'm going to go 9. 1, 2, 3. That's 9. All right, now I'm going to pull all my branches back up just to see what I have here. It is starting to take shape. All right. I'm kind of liking this shape. Now, if you can see, I've got some tall ones, I have some short ones. I'm going to work with this short one that's down in this lower level. I still have my rubber band on, and that's fine, no big deal. I'm going to take a branch that has 3. Okay, let me push all of these away so you can see. I'm going to take a branch that only has 3 wires. All right. Now, this is kind of the fun part. I would say this is where I would make the decision that I want a little bit more branches in here. So, watch carefully, pause it, do a repeat. If you don't get it the first time, I'm sure that you'll catch on the second time. I have my 2 wires here. I have 1 here. I've got lots of wire here to play with. I'm going to take this 1 wire and I'm going to make a loop. So I'm taking this 1 wire and I am going to bring it in to that V. Okay, you see that? I'm taking that wire, making it into a V. I'm going to hold that loop, all right, that loop with one hand, bring my other hand into the V with the one strand and the two strands, all right, hold them like this, get your fingers into that V and twist 3 half turns. 1, 2, 3. You're going to lock that into place. Take the other part of the wire, which is the loop that you just made, get into that V, finger and thumb, and twist 3 half turns. Make it nice and tight. Keep that loop. Don't make that loop thin. Keep it a loop so you can get into that V and twist. 1, 2, 3. That's going to lock it in place. And because I am playing, I might go longer. I think I will. I'm going to go 3 more half turns. 1, 2, 3. So now I have 6 half turns right at this point, and I still have my loop. All right. Now, I still have a single wire and I still have 2 wires. I'm going to twist 3 more half turns for the length for this particular branch. Make sure that your wire stays nice and tight. Now I have 1 very short wire, but I still have 2 long wires. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to take 1 strand that's long. I'm going to make a loop. I'm going to bring it into that V, needing 2 hands here. One hand is going to hold that loop shape. The other hand is taking that wire right into the V. So I've got a long strand, I have a short strand and a medium strand. I want all 3 wires to be twisted together while I'm holding this loop. Get your fingers into that V and twist 3 half turns. All right, and again, you've got your loop. Keep it a loop. Don't pinch it shut. Get your fingers into that V and twist 3 half turns, locking it into place. This branch right here has become not only into just 3 long strands of wire, but now has loops attached to it. And these can become your branches. So when I'm thinking of the kind of tree, this is just a basic tree to give you the fullness of the crown on a small basic tree. These are some of the things that I do. Doesn't have to be done this way. You could make your branches and just twist them all up and then bring them down to make it look like a willow. This effect here, all right, we're just going to continue on. Now I still have a very short piece of wire, a medium-sized piece of wire, but I have a long one here. I'm going to do the same thing, but if you've taken notice, I'm just going to switch my wire around and do one on the other side. So I'm making my loop, okay? It's my loop. I'm holding it with one hand, getting these 3 pieces of wire together, And I'm going to do 3 half turns right in that V. 1, 2, 3. That locks that in place, but don't forget about the loop. Try to keep it a loop. Don't pinch it shut and get into that V. 3 half turns. There you go. This is one branch. All right, and this is basic, just to make that crown, the branches just a little bit fuller than if you would have just twisted those wires together. All right, let's take a break, pause, work on that, and I'll come back. So tell me, did that help? Does that give you a thought process on creating the branches of your tree? With this kind of tree, you can make so many different species of trees. This one just being one that will have a lot of small branches, not the long ones, to create a different kind of tree. Now, we did get the one set finish. Let's move on to another set. Let the loops go. Get them out of your way. It's just wire. You can bend them back into shape later. All right, I've got a set here that has another 5 strands. I've got 3 here and 2 here. I am going to probably do the same basic thing which you've seen before I took my short break and paused. So I'm going to just take this one, make it a little bit longer by twisting. Now I'm not counting because now I'm at the branches and I just want to get some height and some fullness in my branches. So I'm twisting. All right. See, I'm thinking 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 twists maybe, and I just have these 2 wires. When I have just 2 wires and I've got all of this length, I'm going to basically do the same thing with my loops. I'm going to make a loop, bring it down into the V. Okay, it's my V right there, my loop right here. I'm going to hold both with both hands, get that loop twisted, 3 half turns, 1, 2, 3, but I do think I'm going to go a little bit longer on this one. 3 more half turns, 1, 2, 3. Again, I have to not forget about the other side. I want to get into that V. 1, 2, 3. All right. Now I have a short one and a long one. I think I will do 3 more half turns just to get the length for the branch. There you go, 3 more half turns. Still have that long one. I'm going to make another loop. Down, make that loop into the V. Take my 2 strands that I have here, get into that V, 3 half turns, 1. That was 1, 2. This is 3 half turns to tighten it, but I just have a little bit of wire. I think I'll go 3 more half turns, 1, 2, 3, but don't forget about that loop. Get into that V, nice and tight. 1, 2, 3. And there's another branch. All right, I have 3 here on the next set. Bend this down, get this out of the way. Basically going to do the same thing. I'm going to make a loop, bring it down into that V, twist. Other side, don't forget about the other side. Twist, 1, 2, 3, all 3 wires together. Now, here's something else that you can do creating your basic wire tree. You have 2 long ones, 1 short one, so try this. Take both long pieces of wire that you have and bring them in together, okay? Bring them in together, 2 loops. We're going to make 1 loop using 2 of the long strands of the 22 gauge wire that you're playing with. Bring it into the V, all right? Twist all 3 together, 3 half turns. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to go a little bit longer because I'm towards the end of the wire. 1, 2, 3. Split them open. Don't forget about the loop. Now you have 2 pieces of wire, a little bit thicker than just the 1 piece that you made over here. This is going to be 2. You want to get that twisted nice and tight. This will be a little bit harder. That was 2. This is 3. These 2 loops that I have here, split them open. Like this, almost like butterfly wings. All right, you can pull them apart if you want like this, but then twist them, get into that V, twist them, try to keep this a loop, 3 half turns, 1, 2, 3, and then the other loop, 3 half turns, 1, 2, 3, and you have something that looks like this. All right, so that's just another way to make more branches on your tree. There you go. Okay, my face is getting flushed. Time to take a break. Work on your branches and I'll be right back. So how is that working out for you? I bet that your tree is coming along nicely. What kind of tree are you going to make? You're getting the concept. You're taking those long branches, which doesn't really look like you're going to have a whole lot to play with, and you're ending up with a bunch of branches. Going on forward, I want to get some height in my tree, so I was working on the lower branches. Now I have the rest of this tree to work on. I am going to take the next set that I come up with. I'm not sure what you have in front of you, if you've been playing along with me just as I'm doing it. One of the next sets I have, or the next couple of sets I have, are sets of 4. I'm going to just twist those branches upward just to give my tree some height. Okay. So this is what I've twisted from down here upward, and I'm going to split those off, those 2 branches off. 2 wires, twisting them together nice and tight, not allowing any gaps, and keeping the twisting uniform up there. You can see nice and tight, no gaps in between. The other thing that I wanted to mention is when you're making those loops, you eventually will be cutting these. So you want to make sure that this area right in here is very tight, so that when you're going to cut that loop, it's all going to stay in place. If you remember, this is the double loop that we twisted, this is the single loop, and we only used 3 pieces of the 22 gauge wire. This set that I'm working on is a little bit longer, bending that down so you can see it. I will make loops on this one, and I have another set of 4. I'm going to twist that one up also so that it's a little bit taller, and I'm going to split those 4 wires that are into 2 and 2. I'm going to split them into 1 and 1. And this other one, 1 and 1 in that V. All right. And I've got another one here. This one has 3 wires and 3 wires. This one is a little bit different, so let me show you what I would do here. Is I'm going to take the 2 wires, I've got 2, I have 1, and then I have the other 3. I'm going to bring those 2 wires over to these 2 wires. So I'm going to have 4 and 2. This one I'm going to twist, give it some height, and this one is a single set of 2 wires. Twist that. Let that go for now. See what my next set of branches looks like. I've got a set of 4. I've got 2 and 2. I'm going to twist that a little bit longer. Move on, see what else I have. This one is 4 and 4 also. I'm going to split them up into 2 and 2, but I'm not going to twist these quite as much. I did 4 half turns on that one, and I'll do 6 half turns on that one. See what I have. And I've got 3. The next set I'm looking at, and it looks like the last set that I have 3 wires and 3 wires. Again, I'm going to take those 2 wires plus 2 more wires, put them together, twist, and then the 2 wires, I'm going to twist those together also. And then sit back and look what I have to make my thought process of what I'd like to see in the tree that I'm creating. Every single tree that we create together today is going to be, every single person's tree is going to look totally different from someone else's. And this is just to give you an idea of what we're looking at. It's starting to look like a tree. Yay! All right, taking another break. While I took my break and you guys were twisting, I was looking at my tree and thought there is something else that I can show you. So I'm going to take a branch that has 4 wires on it. All right, you can see it's got 4 wires on it. All right, I'm going to put 2 of those wires aside, work with just the 2 wires that I have, make a couple tight twists in there. I'm not counting, just want to make that little bit of a transition there with these 2 branches, and I'm going to make 1 large loop. All right, so I'm not going to have a whole lot of wire here, but I'm just going to take this, make it a loop. It's a big loop, The wire isn't that long. It's probably about 4 inches that I have left in my loop. It's probably about 1.5 inches from the V to the end of this loop, meaning I don't have a whole lot of wire here. If you can see it, this is the edge of my wire. I'm not worried about it. I'm just going to make sure that my fingers get into that V, twist it nice and tight. 1, 2, 3, I'm locking that into place, not forgetting about the loop. Getting into that V, twisting, 1, 2, 3, locking it into place. Now this is just something that is a little bit different. My loop probably is about 1.5 inches in diameter at the most, but to do something different and to make the crown of the tree just a little bit thicker, I'm going to take that loop, because I know it's locked in place. I'm showing you on camera, so this is hard. Even with all of the other videos that I do, sometimes it's really hard to show on camera the concept, so I'm going to try to speak it out as I'm doing it. You might need to pause, rewrap, and then watch it again, but I know that you'll get the concept once you watch it. So my loop here, all right, I'm going to take my loop and bend it in half. So I'm taking my finger across like this, down. Now this is to make a tiny branch. All right, you see that I'm bending it down, but I'm bringing it back into the V. All right, getting it into that V, kind of straightening it out so that it looks like this, and then twisting in that V. All right, it gets a little bit harder as the wire gets shorter, but you can do that. You can do this, I know you can. Just takes practice. And that's why we're using floral wire. It's 22 gauge, it's kind of soft, but it's still structured. It will hold its shape. I got this tiny little loop. I'm holding it together. Nothing's been twisted yet. Getting into that V. 3 half turns, nice and tight. Again, the other side of the loop. 3 half turns. Get it in there. 2, 3. Now I'm going to show you something here. If you can see it, I do have a gap in there. I can't have that gap. If I take my wire cutters and cut this loop here and here, it will just fall off. You need to make sure you do not have any gaps in there. Get it nice and tight. I still have a gap after 1 half turn. I need to get into this loop. I'm seeing a gap in there. Nice and tight. Get another half turn in there, and that gap disappeared. That pretty much tells me that this loop, if I cut it, will stay as a branch. If not, it will fall off. If you are afraid that you did not quite get it tight enough, that's when the pliers come in. Take your pliers, get into that V, pinch it shut, and do 1 more half turn. All right, and I'm going to do it to the other side of the loop also, just to make sure that it doesn't fall off when I cut it. Another half turn. This just gives you another option for the fullness on that tree that you're creating. Okay, at this point, you know all the different ways that I want to make the crown of my tree fuller. I'm going to let you go here, pause it, and I'll be back. Will you come back? I'll be right back. So, here I am. I'm back. I'm sure you might be working on that tree, or you're just popping in to see, to stay tuned to see what is the next step. I'm sitting here twisting with you, working on my tree, trying to complete it so I can show you what the next step is. Hey, good things take time. I have a few more branches to work on. We work on our trees on our own time. You might need a break. Those fingers might be hurting. Either that, maybe you have a nail clippers and you're clipping your nails because your nails are too long to get into the V to twist your wire, or maybe you're saying, forget it, Carol, I'm not doing this, and you're turning me off. This is all in fun. I wanted to show you basic wire twisting, and I hope that you're enjoying this video as we twist this basic wire tree together. I'm still working on my branches, but I am making the loops just as I showed you. I'm not doing any different techniques that I didn't show you just prior to earlier on this video. I am just getting a little bit of height on my branches, twisting. I've got two more sets to do, trying to finish this off. I'd like to do all of this video in this one set, but the way I create my videos, I never know if they turn out that I can record them and put them on YouTube until after the video has been completed, and I don't need to do a whole lot of editing. And I'm just talking here, so hope I'm not wasting your time, but twisting wire together has been so much fun. You know, you can find me on Facebook at Only Trees by Carol L. Mickey. We also have a private group. It is called Twisting Wire with Friends. You might be able, or you might be interested in that. You can find us in looking for different groups, Twisting Wire with Friends. We have a beautiful group of people who are mindset in loving to play with wire. Many of the artists on there do all different types of wire work. You might catch on. We also do in that group, I put together a Zoom call, usually on Monday nights, if that's something that you're interested in, and getting to meet up with other like-minded, beautiful, wonderful, kind-hearted, wire twisting friends. All right, let's see. I'm also on Pinterest and Instagram. I don't do a whole lot of posting on there because there's just not enough hours in the day to do all that. But there are some pictures for inspiration for creating wire trees. And of course, and as always, if you have any questions, please put them in the comments below. I will get back to you and try to answer your question the best way I know how. And if it's to link something else to that message, I will also try to do that. In between all of that is going on, I have a small booth in the local area where I live that displays all of the work that I have at the present time. If you happen to be in the local area of Slatington, Pennsylvania, the place is called Slatington's Farmers Market. I'm right there. I do put some classes together. In fact, I'm putting a class together very shortly. I hope that if you are in the area, you'll stop in, say hi, and we'll get a chance to chat to each other and be inspired by each other's stories. Well, with all that magic and talking at the same time, I do have all of my branches done. I have my loops made to make the crown of my tree nice and thick. It certainly is looking like a tree. Loving it. I like the shape of it. I have my root system. I'm going to take off that rubber band. Yep, take off that rubber band. If it doesn't come off easy, just take the wire cutters and snip it off, as I'm struggling with this rubber band. I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna take my wire cutters, snip it, get this thing off, kind of shape it up a little bit. Oh my goodness, Carol, you really, you really have a knot here. It's not coming off, guys. What the heck? All right, let me try again. Really, Carol? All right, finally, there it is. The rubber band is off. Throw it in the garbage. Spread out my trunk system. Okay. All right, so there's my trunks, and here's my tree. Now, the last thing is, of course, is to spread these branches out and trim it up. You're going to take your wire cutters, cut into those loops, just like this. Just one cut into that loop, hoping that you twisted those loops nice and tight. None of them fall off. All right. And just to give you an idea, then after the fact, after they're cut, I'm taking my needle nose pliers and opening them up. All right. So these are two of the loops that I had. I just cut them up and straightened them, and now look, I've got so many more branches, only using 40 strands of wire. Splitting those loops, okay, and that one I forgot to cut. All right, so there's one. Always need to go back, check them out. That one, you're getting the idea. And then I'm just trimming off the tops. So I'm taking a short break here. I'm gonna come back and this tree will be all done. Okay, how far did you get? I hope that you did not get discouraged and completed your tree. You remember the rock? Yep, okay. This little beauty. So I did get my tree done. I did cut my loops. I straightened them out. I cut and trimmed the long pieces that were kind of stragglers. I spread out my root system and just went around with the wire cutters and cut the ends off. So I am all ready to go. This is my tree. This is my rock. I want to find the flattest part that this rock is going to be on the shelf or counter or fireplace mantle or dining room table, wherever you're going to display your first beautiful tree. Yeah, your first beautiful tree. You got this. So my rock, I'm going to put my tree on the rock and basically take, excuse me, there you go, my wire, my pliers, and I'm just going to wrap this around my rock. All right, and there you go, guys. This is a basic wire tree with a couple cool techniques to use a little bit of wire, but to create the branches to make it look like a full grown beautiful crown on top of this trunk and the root systems. Thank you for watching this long video. This was part 2, creating a basic wire tree. I hope you enjoyed it. Give me some thumbs up if you did. Any comments below, like I said earlier. Hit the subscribe button and the bell button if you want any alerts with me posting any future videos. I have a list of videos that have been done over the years. Go check them out. Again, questions, comments, bell button. All right, guys, thank you. Have an awesome day, and we will talk soon.